Now, the good news is how you run a successful construction business is a very well-known process. Why? Because look around you. There's successful multi-million-dollar construction companies everywhere. And every successful construction business is a collection of 9 key business systems. Now, let's walk through these business systems one at a time. Because the first thing you need to run a successful business is an effective marketing and lead generation process. And the effectiveness of this system really determines how big of a business you can build. Many contractors think that getting business through referrals is great, because their mindset is, hey, look, my work is so good, I'll just keep getting referrals. But that is a very dangerous way of running a company, because if the economy wobbles, people get focused on their own problems. And the first person they're going to forget about is you. And that's why to have a successful business, the most important thing is to have an effective marketing and lead generation strategies. And when we work with our clients, we evaluate 8 different strategies. And from those, we pick 3 to 5. Why? Because not every strategy works all the time. And you need multiple of these working at all times, so you always have a stream of highly qualified, high-margin leads. And not all of these cost money, by the way. The most money is actually spent on advertising, which is just one strategy. So you can have multiple marketing strategies working without it costing you a lot of money. The next system that you need is an effective sales process. That is, how do you convert these qualified leads into signed contracts? And you have to have an effective sales process that is actually written out. Most contractors are good at sales because they have good people skills and they can go out and close deals, which is great. But if you're the only one selling, then you're setting up another trap for yourself. Because as your business grows, you're going to be selling more and more, and this is going to become your entire life. So the purpose of having a written out sales process is to start to build an effective sales team. And you use this process to teach this team to sell for you. The next step is you have to have a highly effective recruiting process so you can bring in good quality people to work for you in your business. Because a business is simply a collection of people. That's why it's important to know how to hire good people. And this is an area where contractors are probably the worst, which is knowing how to hire good people. Why? Because ask yourself, when was the last time you were trained in an effective hiring process? Probably never. That's why it's difficult to be good at something you've never been trained in. Most contractors do what we call is ad hoc hiring, which is they get a project and they're like, oh crap, we need people. Then they go scrambling for whoever's out there, taking out ads on Indeed, asking their employees for referrals, supply houses. Now, this is the worst way to hire anyone because then you just get the bottom of the barrel. Now, the right way to do this is to look at this as an employee pipeline. Just like an effective sales organization has a sales pipeline. It's a series of prospects that they're talking to at all times, knowing that only some of them will become your clients. It's the same way with hiring people. Hiring is also a sales process. You're selling your organization to the best people out there because this is a different mindset. If you want to hire good people, you have to understand that good people have options. People who are good at what they do are not sitting at home waiting for your Indeed ad. They're working somewhere else. And your job is to be talking to enough of these people, regardless of whether you need them right now or not. Because when the time is right, you should already have a good pipeline of employees you could be reaching out to. The next system is pre-construction, which is that once you sell a job, you have to make sure that everything that the sales team promised the client is actually effectively transferred to the project management team, the people that are actually going to do the job. So before a project starts, you have to make sure everything is organized. The scheduling is done so people know where to go. The materials are ordered so they show up on time. And subcontractors, if any, are lined up, as well as backups in case somebody doesn't show. So the pre-construction process is as critical to your success as anything else. Next, you have project management, which is how to effectively complete the work. Because it's not enough to get the work done on time in budget. What you have to ensure is that the work is done at the right margins, the margins that were established when you did the estimating for this project. This is the most important aspect of project management. Project managers have to be clear that they need to deliver a project at the right margins. The other key aspect of project management is customer satisfaction. You need to have an effective customer satisfaction process in place so that at the end of the project, your customers don't hate you and just want you off the job site. I'm exaggerating, but only a little bit, because the project managers you have in place not only have to be able to get the job done, but they also need the soft skills to be able to handle different types of clients. Because the reality is, clients actually come in 4 different types. And the first is the people who are fast decision makers. They just want the bottom line and for you to get the job done. The second is the people who need a lot of detail and they cannot make fast decisions. Then there are people who want nothing to do with the details. They just want you to make the process as easy as possible for them. And finally, there are those people that need a lot of hand-holding, a lot of emotional support. And you have to be able to handle the different expectations of all 4 of these types of people. And if your project managers are trained in handling these different expectations, this creates a huge amount of customer satisfaction, which leads you to getting great reviews, which builds the reputation of your company, and that creates more and more work coming your way. So this is one of the most important business systems in your company, and it's one that actually often gets overlooked. Next, let's talk about KPIs, or key performance indicators. If you really step back and take a look at your business, at the end of the day, your business is a bunch of what? It's a bunch of numbers. As a business owner, one of the most important skills you can develop is to learn how to run your business by the numbers. And one of the most important systems you can develop is to track the different systems in your business using KPIs or key performance indicators. This allows you to understand what's actually going on in different parts of your business and use data to make intelligent decisions. So what are these KPIs? Let me give you some examples. So to understand how well your marketing system is working, one of the KPIs you can use is called ROMS, or return on marketing spend. In marketing, it's important to track where your leads are coming from, which sources give you the most qualified leads, which allows you to close the highest percentage of sales, which sources give you the highest profitable jobs. And you can use this information to calculate the return that you're getting on your marketing spend. Sales pipeline conversion ratios. This is used to calculate the conversion rates between leads, presentations, and closed deals. Projected pipeline number. Based on your current sales pipeline, what revenue could you expect over the coming months? So for ongoing projects, what are the total contract amounts? How much work has been completed? How much cash has been collected? How much is remaining uncompleted work? What is the current gross margin on the projects? So there's a lot of detail that you can collect for ongoing work. Projected cash flow, which is what does the cash flow picture of the business look like over the next 8 to 12 months? Is it negative or positive in each of the weeks going forward? This is very important because if you're going to have a cash flow issue down the road, it's much better to know about it way ahead of time. Estimated versus actual gross margins. So every time you create an estimate for a project, you estimate it with a target gross margin in mind. And when a project is complete, you need to evaluate what were the actual gross margins that the project delivered. So I can keep going on and on because there's many important KPIs that a business can track. But these are some solid examples. When it comes to bookkeeping, your bookkeeping systems must be kept up to date each week. You need to make sure you have a great chart of accounts that not only tracks your revenue and your overhead, but also tracks your cost of goods very effectively. A good chart of accounts uses project costing, which allows you to track your costs down to each project so that you know your gross margins, not just at the company level, but down to each project. Then you should also be able to track your overhead to understand if it's too high or do you have money left over to invest in the growth of your company aggressively. This also shows you what discretionary earnings do you have available for use for yourself as an owner. And finally, there's taxes. This is an area you have to be very mindful of because it makes no sense to generate a lot of profit and then pay yourself a high income, which is heavily taxed, or just take a bunch of those profits and pay to the government. It's very important to work with a competent business tax accountant and develop a comprehensive tax strategy, especially around areas like profit distribution and asset depreciation, two of the most effective tax strategies that you can use as a business owner to lower your tax bill. But most business owners never use it. The purpose of having good systems is to streamline your company into a more efficient and organized business. And this allows you to run your business at higher margins. The quality of your systems determines how much of your revenue ends up as income for you, the owner, available to you as discretionary earnings.